about Hunter Bryant from Washington, 52 catches, 825 yards. I mean, this is a guy that is just an absolute beast, and he fits in line with what we're seeing right here, right? We're seeing guys that just are so productive when it comes to the tight end spot.
Well, and yeah, he's an adept receiver. And so this is a guy that when you focus on him, there's a reason he wears number 1. He is the dude, but it's because of his movement skill. He's about 6'2", 239, 240, so you're not going to really see him attached too often. But the problem is you just can't cover this guy because he moves around so well. And even with a corner, he can box him out and play basketball. Then you put a heavy-footed linebacker on him, he has zero chance. This guy is a phenomenal pass-catching tight end.
Yeah, look, he was the number 5 tight end coming out of high school. He was in that class of 2017, right? So we're going to talk about a couple guys that are actually were ranked above him. But going into the draft, where do you have him? You have him as your number 1 tight end?
You know, I think he's going to be right up there. There's a kid in Hunter Bryant that we're going to have a chance to talk about, too, that I actually love. I've seen him a lot more. But this is a kid, if he could block a little better, which we'll have a chance to take a look at,
about it.
He would probably be my number 1 guy, but he's going to certainly be in the conversation.
Look, I will say this. I think he's my number 1 guy, but I also think that there's a little bias for my end because I thought he was probably the number 2 tight end coming out of high school, so I like it. But this is what we're talking about, right? You talk about his movements, right?
Yep.
So here's what I see. What I see out of him is the ability to adjust to the football. This is something we see wide receivers do pretty consistently.
Yep.
It's something we see tight ends do kind of rarely, but he can do it.
Well, the ball judgment is the thing that pops off the screen when you look at it. This is a guy that he knows how to get the defender in the trail position. He steps on his toes, which is what you teach your wide receivers.
Boom.
Right there, step on his toe, subtle hand to get off, but look at how he tracks the ball.
Yes.
That's where this guy's going to make some money. The ball tracking skills are incredible. Look at him eye the ball, even with the defender there.
Focus.
He doesn't lose phase, and he finds the ball. He's able to go up, and that's what we call catch radius, right? So now you're getting a little longer for your quarterback. It gives him a bigger target to hit. This is just outstanding ball judgment. Good job of locating the football.
I mean, I think this is the perfect picture of focus. It's the head turning, and look, just go through it in slow-mo when we look at it. He's focused, right? He's not looking at the defender. He's looking at the football. He sees the football, finds it, contorts that body, twists his whole body around, because this is a guy that's running forward that is able to turn his body around backwards, make that catch, make that snag. I love that. And then, of course, just speaking of that contortion, you're going to get to see it a little bit here, the way he's able to catch that football that's behind him as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And the first thing you notice here is they get him on a crosser because they know that, again, he's going to be a matchup problem.
He's already won. He's won. Because look where look where 23 is.
Completely won. Yeah, and he gets off, and now he's created some space, but he knows how to find the ball. He gets the hands up. He can catch it in traffic like that because he has the hand strength.
Super strong.
And he knows exactly where the sticks are, so it tells me this is a guy that's thinking on the field.
Thinking on the field, and I'm glad you mentioned the strength because this isn't easy to do, to hang on to that ball as that club is coming down on top of you, but he's got that strength to power through.
He fights through the contact, and that's what you look at the next level. There are a lot of tight ends that can't do that.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a mesh concept here, right? The linebackers get lost. They lose him. 92's never going to catch him as a defensive lineman. And then his ability to kind of shake off that, give a guy a leg, take a leg away, and get into the end zone.
We call it that dead leg. And this is where you can see the speed in his play. So now you want to talk about some assets. There's a crosser. He knows how to find the space, good spatial awareness. But now the ability to finish, right? This is what he does at top. He knows how to get to the end zone, showing you the lower body strength to run through the contact.
And I love this because even though this is a zone dog, and you get the zone dog part of it right here, right? You see the linebackers, you see him dropping into that little Bronco coverage.
Wanted to pass him off.
And he knows, even I can keep running, because if I keep running, this guy's never going to get there. And usually in zone, you get taught, let's sit down. But he recognizes I've got space to make plays. And then I love that we put this one on here because this is just him. You're terrified at this point, right? You're terrified.
That is what we call stunting on him. I mean, that is, you talk about now, that looks wide receiver-like. Watch how he's going to dip down, and this is what we call sitting down the defender. What he's going to do is he's going to give him a little stutter move, sit him down. There he goes, and then he just blows right by him. That is just downright filthy, and that's what this kid's going to give you. That's what makes him highly intriguing at the next level.
And I think that's the cool thing because he's been killing you on crossers, right? He's been killing you on shallow routes. And now all of a sudden you don't want to get beat like that again. So what do? You overreact to what he's bringing to the table, and now, boom, I can kill you over the top.
You know what's interesting, though, is if you get up in his grill, I mean,
Yeah.
he has a strength that he can get off of you.
Yes.
But then if you play him with some space and you play him from an off position, you can see what happens, how he can torch you. So I think you got to mix up the coverage with this guy. He is a highly efficient receiver at the tight end position because he's such an efficient mover.
He is such a good mover. I love to watch him play. Like when he was hurt in 2018, I was sad because we didn't get to watch enough of him for the whole season. So you look at him at that catch, the yards per reception. I mean, this guy is just, 16 yards each time he touches the football. That's a first down, a first down, a first down, a first down every time. And to me, that really speaks to guys that are turning. It's not just like your tight end is your safety valve, right? It's not just your tight end is your quarterback's best friend. It's that your tight end is also incredibly productive.
And I think with him, he's going to go to a team that probably has a more skilled blocker, but they know he can be the mismatch guy, the move guy, detach, put him out in space and let him go put in work. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see where he falls. He's certainly not a flawless player, but in terms of the pass game, this kid may be the best tight end in the country.
Well, he's like Jermichael Finley, right? Like a guy that at some point is going to get into arbitration if he saying that I'm a wide receiver. Look at my numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's talk about the blocking. We have him here. He's in that little wing back spot. And, this is the thing where I think for him, it's a lot about focus. It's about focus and execution more than it is about strength, because I think he's got the strength, but here you see he's not focused. It's 3rd and 1. You should be giving everything that you have to make sure you guys get this first down, and your guy makes that tackle for loss.
Michael, that's where this guy scares me a little bit. If I'm a scout in the room and evaluating him, it's clear that he may have the want to block, but he just doesn't have the skill level. We'll see it right here. He's going to get a good initial punch, but then he can't sustain the block.
Right.
And as you pointed out, this is just to get 1 yard. This is a critical play, and he doesn't have the ability to seal right there and fight through and hold on to this block. He gets pushed back.
Yeah.
That won't work at the next level.
That initial strike from 32 is too much for him. He doesn't, and then he gets off balance. You see his base get unsteady.
Exactly right.
And he doesn't form up and get that drive. You see him there behind the little raindrop. He thinks he's going to approach, fit up, and just be good. He's got to run through that guy.
You're absolutely right. And I think it was great that you pointed out his base. Look at his feet right now. It's very wide. But then also it shows me that he needs to develop his upper body strength. I mean, that looks like a wide receiver in there trying to block. And I think that's where you're going to start to find some holes in this kid's game.
Yeah, and I think you see him there against the guys, a linebacker / defensive end. But here, this is what you want to see, right?
Yep.
And I get that it's a defensive back versus a guy that's playing up on the line of scrimmage. But what you do get to see is you see that initial shock, and then you do see him continue through with the block.
And where he gets help is, let's face it, this is a bunch formation. They're thinking, hey, this could be, a pass to him. So they're sitting back and playing him, and so he's able to get in his chest and win the battle there. I do like that he sustained the block a little bit longer. Didn't see that on the first play that we ran there, but this is good push. Now you knock him off. Now you try and get him walled off just enough to get the receiver in the end zone.
But it's the same thing. Run those feet. Not the initial shock and stop. Run those feet. And then you're going to see him here at that wing spot again. And this is what I want, right? This is the same guy that knocked him off his feet on the other play. This is what you want to see. And you see him here because his feet keep going. Run those feet.
And what we talked about before, right? You know that this running back got to get this first down, this conversion. What he does great is now he's walling off. He gets the seal. He has him pinned right there.
And we get a first down.
That is perfect. And yes, they want to run right up your back. That's what you teach a running back. Run right up his back. That gets him a critical first down.
Like, this is what I want to see, right? And if you saw this every time, he's got to be a top guy. But we don't see it every time. And that's the big question mark that we have. But he is so insanely talented.
But then why don't you see this every time? I think that if I'm the scout doing the evaluation, that's where I have if it's not a strike on this kid, it's a foul tip, because he does it when he wants to, but then you're saying, why aren't you more consistent at doing that? You can be a dog. You have the skill set to do it. We just don't see it on tape clearly, as we saw there.
Yeah, I think that's the big reason why I wanted to put those three on there, right? Because we can see him do it. First play, he doesn't do it, gets knocked back. Second play, he gives you that initial strike that we see, but then he recognizes, I need to continue to push hard on this block. Third play, we get the whole package. And so what we have to do is get the third play every play. We got to get the third play every time.
But I think what you're going to see, Michael, you're going to see some smart, high aptitude offensive coordinator at the next level. All they're going to do is put in that tape that we just watched. And they're going to say, this kid presents a problem. He is an issue for defenders in the pass game. We can coach him up on everything else, but he brings an element. He's an asset, and I think that's why he's going to go high off the board.
Yeah, this guy's going to be a first rounder, I believe. And watching him play, you look at the likes of Kelsey, you look at Ertz, obviously. You got Kittle on the mix. Mark Andrews, he's still young in the league. And look at these, the targets that he's getting. I think that tight end position as an asset, because we're seeing so many teams go to a smaller third corner. We're seeing so many teams go to a true third corner, right? Not just a guy, not a big safety, not a third safety. Go to the third corner, and that becomes a guy that's supposed to cover Hunter Bryant down the field when he outweighs him by 50 pounds.
Well, and I love that we had Darren Waller on there, because Darren Waller was a wide receiver at Georgia Tech. He comes in, so he had to develop into being a good blocker, and I think that's kind of where this kid is in that mold. He can do everything else, so that's a very good comparable to me on that list that we had. I think he's a very fair comparable.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what he brings to the combine, because I think he's going to blow it up.
Yeah,
and then I'm looking forward to what happens to him at the next level.